Hello, soulmates. Welcome to BB Concepts. I'm Blessing, and today we'll be cutting this dress together. Let's get straight into the tutorials. Okay, these are the fabric I'll be using for this tutorial: Ankara print and half yard of a black fabric. So I do want to let my strip run this way because it's not going to be enough. So I turn it the other way around to avoid having joining at the hem of my at the down part of my dress. All right, so just go ahead to fold your fabric into four and measure out the length of the dress you would want, adding allowance for hemming. All right, so I didn't have the exact shoulder center back to sleeve measurement, so I just used my shoulder measurement, added the sleeve measurement, and 1.5 inch for turning of the sleeve. We'll come down by 1 inch for our shoulder slope. After that, they'll mark our sleeve opening. 9 inches enough for me for sleeve opening, but if I plus size, just use 10. But I'm a size 8, so 9 is okay. All right. So the next thing to do is just to come and measure the same 9 inch rising for our sleeve opening across it this way, and also we'll take our measurement at the upper bodies. Anything you used earlier, you minus 1 inch so that you have a slant for the sleeve. So I used 18 and a half at first, so now I'll be using 17 and half. All right, so that I'll have a little slant at that sleeve opening. Then now I'm going to go ahead to connect the shoulder slant. Please give this video a thumbs up if you find it helpful, and also click on the subscribe button if you're yet to subscribe. It's absolutely free. It's just a way to support us grow. You can leave a comment to let me know if this video was helpful, all right, at the comment section. Okay, so after that, we've gotten our sleeve slant. That's 1 inch slant. Then now the next thing we're going to go ahead to do is to input our biggest round measurement, which is 9 inch. That's my hip measurement, plus 3 inch extra, which I'll be using for ease. Since it's a bubu dress, we want it bigger, so I'll be using 3 inch. All right, so that's what we'll be doing. So I have a total of 12 inch. 9 plus 3 is 12. So just connect that 12 inch to the straight line we had earlier. All right, so we're going to mark the 12 inch straight down. All right, just in a straight line. You don't need any curves, just straight down. So after marking it to the hem of the dress, the next thing we're going to go ahead to do, so at that point we have angle 90. We have the 2 points joining together at this point there. You just come out by 1 inch and just give it a nice curve. All right, just curve it inwards to the borders and to the sleeve. All right, that's basically that for that. So just go ahead now to work on the neck. All right, so the neck opening we would like to use is I'll be using neck width of 3 inch and neck depth of around 1 inch for the back, and say 6 inch for the front line is just okay for me. I don't want it too deep, and plus I'm a size 8, so anything deeper than 6 might be too deep for a size 8. All right, so that's what we'll be using. So of course the front neckline, I'm using a V neckline, and the back neckline I chose to use a round neckline, and it's a high neck for the back. So go ahead to cut the dress. Just go ahead to cut out the places we have marked out, ensuring to follow the marked chalk. Just give it a nice curve at that end. All right, then from the sleeve opening and cut out. That's just that for this. A bubu dress is a very simple dress. All right, so just cut it out. Remember, this is on 4-fold, so we have cut both front and back right now. So we'll go ahead now to work on the neckline. At the neckline now, we'll go ahead to cut out the back neckline first, which is 3 inch deep and 1 inch deep and 3 inch wide. All right, remember to cut out the shoulder slope, so let's do that. Let's just cut out the shoulder slope first, and this is the shoulder slope of 1 inch. After cutting it out carefully from the rule out line, we'll now come to cut our neckline. So now cut the back neckline first because it's the shortest. So when cutting the front neckline, do not make the mistake of cutting it together. Remember, it's just one piece that you have to cut as your front. One is the back and the other is the front. So we're going to just use the one we have chalked on to mark out our front. Just lift it up the way you see me do and mark out and cut out the front neckline. So this is basically this for this. we'll just go ahead now to work on our black patch fabric that we're placing on this design. So this is the fabric. We'll just measure around 8 inch. Not really, it doesn't really matter. I just want to have 4 inch after the neckline. All right. So just place it. Make sure it's aligning properly. The close end, and make sure your fabric is on closed. All right. The end of the fabric facing the neckline should be on closed. That's the center front. Then I'll just mark 4 inch. That's what I want to be on the shoulder. 4 inch is enough. I want to sit on my shoulder. I don't want it to fall off, so 4 inch is enough. As and just measure your waist line. All right, I want to stop at my waistline, so I'm using 17 inch for my waistline, and that's what I'll measure. So from that place I marked out 4 inch, I'm going to connect to the 17-inch line after marking out my neckline. So let's just go ahead and cut out the neckline first. All right, so just go ahead now to cut out that neckline so we don't have a mistake. Just cut it out, leaving your fabric there. Then you can remove the fabric and connect the 4 inch we've marked on the shoulder. If you want this black fabric strip to completely cover your shoulder, all you need to do is minus the inch you have taken out for your neck opening, and now use the remaining inch for your shoulder measurement as the measurement on that shoulder line. All right, but I don't want it to cover entire shoulder, so I'm using 4 inch. So 4 plus 3 inch that we marked out earlier is going to become 7. So it's going to, and my shoulder measurement is 15. That's 7.5, but 7 is just okay for what I want. All right, so this is the patch fabric we'll be attaching to this dress. In case you are wondering, I'm using a doll face satin fabric, but you can use crepe, you can use variety of fabric as long as it does. Even if it stretches, you can add interface to stop the stretch, but I will not advise a stretchy fabric. So I have this piece of fabric is on fold at the center back, so I want to just use it to make sure I utilize fabric well. So I'll be using it for the center back. All right, so just go ahead now to place it, make sure it's aligning properly. The center back, the V patch will not be as long as the center front. So what I'll go ahead to do is to measure at least 10-inch length, or 11-inch length is okay, so that by the time we fold in, it will be 10-inch length. So I'll still measure the same 4-inch width that we measured earlier. So we'll mark out our neckline now, just cut it out and connect the lines to the 11-inch mark. All right, so that's what we'll be doing. You always notice I leave allowance at the top. It's because after sewing it down, that is when I would like to trim the excess off. All right, it's better more than less. That is the reason you see me leaving allowance at the top. All right, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you find it helpful, and please click on the notification bell to turn on the notification bell to see other valuable content when we post them, so you'll be notified. Also support this channel by subscribing. It's entirely free. It's just a way to support us. So we've gone ahead now to cut out this black piece for the back. So the next thing now I like to do is to interface my fabric. Reason be that if you don't interface it, this is the interfacing I'll be using, is a paper stay, and I'll be using it to interface this black piece of fabric to avoid stretch when I sew, so that it will not be squeezing. All right, so go ahead now to cut it out, iron it smoothly on it, and that is it. It helps you when you sew, it will not be rough, to have a nice finish. All right, so just iron it properly, and after that we're just going ahead now to attach it to our fabric. All right, so this is the front and that is the back. So now this is how we'll go ahead to attach it. Just make sure the right side is facing the wrong side of your fabric. The right side is facing, like, let the interfacing be facing you, and let the right side of the black piece be facing the wrong side of your fabric. Hope you understand this. Then we'll go ahead to sew the neckline. We'll do the same thing at the front neckline also. Right side facing wrong side of your fabric. Please don't make mistake of sewing it the other way around, so you can turn it to flip to the right side. All right, so after sewing this now, you can now flip it over and look at what it looks like. All right, and make sure you notch it, please. I've gone ahead to notch. Very importantly, notching helps your stitch to relax. All right, so after notching, go ahead to iron it. Then after that, we'll just go ahead to fold one end by half inch this way so we can sew it on the fabric. So just fold it by half inch round and sew, following the V neckline. All right, just follow the V, fold in half inch. You can use our pressing iron to iron it before sewing to avoid it moving. All right, so we'll go ahead to do that to both the front and the back. All right. Okay, now we're going to head to stitch it down, and we're going to trim off the excess we have at the shoulder now. Just trim off the excess. Like I said earlier, it's better more than less. All right, so just go ahead and trim off the excess we have. So after trimming it off, we iron it flat and let it just be neatly done. Then trim off the same thing you have, the excess you have at the back. Trim it off so it to be equal. Then the next thing we'll go ahead to do now is just to join the just turn it around so that the front side will be facing the front side. So now we'll go ahead to connect the shoulder to shoulder. All right, connect one shoulder to the other shoulder and stitch it down by the allowance you left. Probably half inch is just perfect. So after sewing it down, the next thing now is, you see how fine it's looking. So we'll go ahead to hem the sleeve. We don't have any patch fabric on the sleeve, so just turn it up by half inch first, then 1 inch later, because remember we left 1.5 inch for the turning of the sleeve. So go ahead to use that 1.5 inch to turn it. So half inch inward, then turn it again by 1 inch to make it 1.5. So we're gonna have to do that neatly, and now we're just going to sew close these two sides of this dress. Just sew it from that end to the other side. I'll be sewing by half inch allowance. All right, so that's that for that. So we'll go ahead to cut out the pocket, and this is one piece I have from cutting out the side of the fabric. So the length is 10 inch, and I think it's just okay. I'll be using it. So I have this piece of black fabric. I'm just going to use it to trace out a V shape that I want to attach to the pocket. All right, so I think I don't want it so wide. I still want some allowance at the sides of the fabric. So what I'll do is just to mark out 1 inch and 1 inch on the other side, and I think it's perfect for me. I've minus the folding allowance I'll use to fold the Ankara print first. So I just mark out 1 inch and 1 inch, measure the center, mark a straight line. The reason for measuring the center is to ensure that the V is sitting at the center. All right, so I just connect the V like this and do the same to the other side. So just go ahead to cut out the V shape. And this I'm cutting out for two piece, so this fabric is folded into two. So when I finish cutting it now, we'll have two piece of this V shape fabric. All right, so we'll have two piece of this for the two side pockets. So we're going ahead to cut it out, adding around half inch to join it. I'll go ahead still to interface it. Remember I said I always interface every fabric, attaching one fabric to the another on another. I always like to use interfacing. So we'll go ahead to fold this fabric. I want the end of the V to be pointy, so I've gone ahead to fold the Ankara fabric, and also I'll go ahead, let me just show you how I did it on the other one. I've already finished doing this one, you see. So this is what it looks like, and I'll go ahead now to fold this end. All right, so this is the pocket now. This is how it should look, but let me show you how I did it on the other one. So after folding the Ankara fabric, this is the second pocket. So after folding the Ankara fabric to the size I want, just folding 1 inch and just leave the top of the fabric unfolded. Then I'll put ahead interfaces. So the next thing I'll do is to fold the black piece by half inch so I can stitch on it. So I can stitch it on the Ankara fabric. So after folding it now, I'll go ahead to stitch it on the Ankara fabric like this. So that's that for that, and that's how we arrive at this. All right, so now for the attaching of the pocket, remember we're going ahead to close our dress. I would have attached the pocket before closing the dress, but I just changed my mind about the position of the pocket. At first I wanted to attach the pocket at the center like this, so just mark 18 inch from the shoulder measurements downward and attach it, but I later decided to attach it to the front piece only. All right, so you can attach it to the center like this, just 18 inch from your shoulder downwards. Then you attach your pocket. Some like to go as far as 19, but 18 is just perfect for me. All right, so I'll just mark the 18-inch downward from my shoulder, and I'll be attaching it. It fall on that green mark, so I'll be using that green mark as a guide. So I'll just attach it this way. So to make sure that I have even placement of my pockets, I'll go ahead to measure the allowance I have at the side is around 1.5 inch. I'll make sure I have 1.5 inch at the other end too. Then I'll go ahead to attach my pockets. All right, so that's that for attaching the pockets, and I think that's basically that for the dress. What we'll have to do now is just to go ahead and hem the down part of the dress, and that will be that for this dress. Then we'll go ahead to show you the finished parts of the dress. All right, so that's basically that. Then the side of this dress, very importantly, I'll just go ahead to use hemming gum to hem it down. If you have a serger machine, please go ahead to interlock this dress before using a hemming gum to hold it, because stitching it down, hemming gum always appear neater than stitching it down. All right, so I prefer to use hemming gum. After interlocking it, just use hemming gum to fold it in. Then the hem of the dress, you can go ahead to stitch. All right, so this dress has been finished now. You see it's looking so neat and ironed. Ironing is very important. Don't forget to iron. Designers always iron. As you can see, my hemming comes sitting very close to my table. So we've gone ahead to finish this dress. Let's show you the finished look of this dress. So this is me rocking this dress. You see how it looks beautiful on me. It's a bubu dress, a free dress, and it came out pretty. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Click on the subscribe button to subscribe, and turn on the notification bell to see other valuable content when we post them. Thank you.